Companies clearly are very comfortable canceling projects and firing people left and right. It's clearly something that they don't mind doing. But I bet you anything, they spend a lot of time now grumbling about how. Do you remember when we could just cancel projects and fire people and nobody even knew? And you know what I mean? And just nobody gave us trouble about it. Now, every single time anybody fires anybody, there's going to be articles about it, and we're going to look bad. Makes us feel grumpy. So yeah, Bandai Namco has, they're doing the thing. They're doing the thing that companies do. It seems they've canceled a bunch of projects and have not quite fired people. We'll get to that in a minute. It's just one of those things where they just gotta tighten their belt or whatever, and who even knows if this is because of, unchecked greed, or if it's genuinely like we're not making enough money and so we gotta cancel some stuff. I really don't know. But it seems that they were working on a Nintendo commissioned project which has been canceled, and that's a bummer. That's a real bummer. I mean, who even like Nintendo working directly with them making a game for Nintendo. That's basically a Nintendo game right there. They were probably working on some Nintendo IP. So yeah, like what even would that have been? And Metroid Prime 4 was supposed to be developed by Bandai Namco, and then things didn't work out, and they had to restart development and give it to Retro. So if this is another project, a Nintendo, second party project or whatever with a first party Nintendo IP, and it didn't work out and had to get canceled, who knows why? It could be that the project wasn't working out. It could be Nintendo wasn't into it either, or it could just be they wanted to do it, but Bamco is just like, nope, we gotta tighten our belt. We gotta cancel stuff. We gotta trim the fat. Seems a little weird that they wouldn't want to work with Nintendo. Seems anybody would be jumping at the opportunity. So, but who knows? Who knows what's going on there? But it is a bummer to hear. Who knows what it would have been, or how far along it would have been, or who even knows what this means for their relationship? If these Nintendo projects keep not working, is collaborating between Nintendo and Bandai Namco, is that just not possible? Is that just not something they can work out? I know, Bamco's helped co-develop a bunch of stuff. They helped out a bunch with like Mario Kart 8 and all that stuff. So I don't know. I'm sure they'll still work together. But yeah, Bandai Namco also has canceled other projects too. It seems that they have canceled games related to Naruto and One Piece, which is surprising. I feel like anime games are really, I don't know, just kind of feels like there's a lot of them recently. Just Dragon Ball. I grew up watching DBZ, so in my brain, it's always DBZ, but it's Dragon Ball. It's getting games all the time, and everybody's all excited about them. Sparkling Zero or whatever just came out. Everyone's all crazy about it, so I don't know. Kind of seems like Naruto and One Piece games. Don't those generally do well? I don't have numbers on me, but I don't know. These things are always getting games. Especially like One Piece. You know what? It's funny. I actually did not know until fairly recently that One Piece was like the biggest anime/manga ever. I just didn't know that. I knew it was popular, but it's like the biggest. Like ever. I don't know. News to me. So you'd think that a game would be a no-brainer. You'd think at any given time, just be pumping out One Piece games. I don't know. There's got to be enough people to buy them, right? But whatever the case, they seem to have canceled One Piece, Naruto, and Nintendo games. But the saddest part comes next. It seems that they, I suppose because of labor laws, they don't want to fire a bunch of employees. And it's true that if you fire employees, you lay them off, then it's severance packages and all this stuff. It's not just a clean break unless an employee quits, and allegedly, Bandai Namco is employing a tactic called Oidashi Baya, or expulsion rooms, where instead of firing people, they just make them work, it seems, in an empty room. They just put them in an empty room with no work to do to try to get them to just quit on their own. Because if they quit on their own, then everything gets broken off, no severance packages, nothing. And according to the report from Bloomberg, they're doing this to about 200 employees, just trying to get them to leave voluntarily through this method. And, I mean, maybe like your knee-jerk reaction, you know? You could put a positive spin on it, I suppose. Like, sitting in a room and not having any work to do, that kind of sounds like paradise, you know? You just bring your phone or your laptop. You could get another job and do it while you're at this job. You could just mess around. You could just listen to music, draw, write, whatever you want. That kind of sounds amazing, right? But like, it really does not quite work that way, especially in Japan. There's this big cultural thing about, I mean, you know, it's honor and shame, and this is a way that they shame these employees. They're not a helpful part of the company. It's shameful, it's embarrassing, it's basically timeout. It's basically you don't get to play anymore. So I can imagine that, yeah, like culturally, in a way that I probably can't grasp, it's not so simple as that. These people don't want to be in this place. They don't want, and that's the real problem there. This is your professional career you're talking about. You're not getting anywhere sitting in that room. You're not advancing. You don't have anything good to put on the resume, no projects under your belt. It's essentially a stall. So you kind of have to get out. And it's really cruel. Now, according to Bandai Namco, they're not doing this. There was a representative for the company that said, nuh-uh. They just said, nuh-uh. They're not doing that. I mean, we don't really know who to believe. I would not put it past any company to do this. Technically possible they're telling the truth when they say nuh-uh. I don't really know. But, you know, apparently this is a thing. This is a thing in Japan. It's got a special name and everything. And according to reports, they're employing a number of different tactics to try to get people to leave. And, you know, if it is true, then, yeah, that's extremely disappointing. I like Bandai Namco. They seem to be a pretty cool company. I mean, they are very, very big, and they publish so many different projects, and they work with so many different other companies. It's kind of hard to put, like, one, like, focal point of, like, a personality or an identity on them. You know what I mean? I kind of just know that they publish a lot of games. But, like, for the most part, they seem cool. They seem to put out a lot of games, a lot of really cool stuff. They work with a lot of cool companies. So if it is true that they are doing this, then of course that's awful. You know, employee abuse is employee abuse, no matter how you spin it. You know, you try, you hear something like that. You know, it's like hearing that a good friend has done something very bad. Your brain is I'm trying to spin it here. I'm trying to shine a good light on it. Some people might say, "Oh, well, this is a common thing in Japan. It's a cultural thing, and therefore it's not bad." You get that a lot whenever there's something with the Japanese culture. You always get some people being like, "Yeah, but it's a cultural thing. We don't get it, but it must be okay." But I mean, at the risk of opening a way too big can of worms, it is perfectly fine to be morally opposed to even something deeply ingrained in a culture. I feel like that should go without saying. You know, it's simple memetics. Beliefs that survive aren't necessarily true, rules that survive aren't necessarily fair, and rituals that survive aren't necessarily necessary. Just because people have been treating themselves and each other this way for such a long time, that doesn't mean that it's right. And this practice of shoving people in a closet and getting them to quit and putting them through this process, this really just shameful process, it's awful. There's no good way to spin it. It's really, really terrible. And I really, truly hope that this is not something they're doing. And then you can also, okay, so it's a bad thing, but all of this isn't necessarily coming from Bandai Namco, the game publisher. This is the company above them, Bandai Namco Holdings. So that's different. Maybe? Maybe? I guess? Who knows? Maybe the CEO of Bandai Namco, the game publisher, is like, this is bad, and we don't want to do this. We had to do this. Who knows? But all this, yeah, it's come out of a Bloomberg Report, which means that I cannot read it. because it is paywalled, so everything is just coming out of articles about it from publications who are willing to pay for the privilege of reading the articles. I probably should be one of those people, but I'm not gonna, because I don't wanna. I don't want to pay for Bloomberg today. Sorry, Jason Schreier. Oh yeah, here's a good little tidbit though. The representative that said that they are not employing those tactics said, "Our decisions to discontinue games are based on comprehensive assessments of the situation." Okay, fair enough. Boilerplate response, sure, but and then many employees might have to wait time before they are assigned to their next project. Ah, I see. Yes, it is technically true that if we cancel a project and that project was being worked on by all these employees, it might be a little while before they get their next one. So they might have to wait in the waiting closet, whatever, the expulsion room. Expulsion room, we prefer recreation area. Temporary recreation area. Just hang out in this blank, empty room with no work to do. Just hang out here for a little bit, and we'll let you know when the next project comes along. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. So who knows what's going on at the company? Yeah, sorry to keep jumping around here, but yeah, last year, Bandai Namco announced that they were opening new studios, specifically for the purposes of working on commissioned projects. So like, yeah, and the idea even at the time was that they were going to work on a Nintendo project. They were like hiring for a Nintendo project. Did that whole thing just completely fall through? I don't know. Is the company really just not doing that well? I don't know. Bandai Namco, what is going on? What are you guys doing?